Hi everyone, Stepan here. We have black against a guy with a provisional rating Indian. Ooh, this is gonna be tough. And this is a compliment to the Indian players. I've been reading John Nunn's Secrets of Pawnless Endings. I'm very bad at major piece endings, especially queens and rooks. I'm going over the chapter on queen and knight versus queen now. Okay, let's just go g6 against the Brer. Let me put this down. I have been waiting for the game for about 45 minutes, so it makes sense to do something productive and read John Nunn's books. Not that this book is easy to read without a board, but I have one on the side here. Okay, I'm playing against the King's Indian attack, or the Brer, whatever you want to call it. My idea is not to go e6, but to go e5. This is what I normally do. Wow, d4? This now transposes to the Gurgenidze, but with the knight on d2. What if I go bishop g4? My opponent is supposed to shut down the position with e5, I guess. So bishop g4 threatening to take on d4, either c3 or e5. So bishop g4, c3, takes, knight takes. Bishop g4 is tempting. I can also transpose to the normal Gurgenidze with takes, knight f6, knight f6, ef6. So yeah, I feel more comfortable there. So I'm gonna do that. And you take with the e-pawn so that you have control over the e5 square. It's really a time waste to move this knight again. And white is supposed to take. So now we are back in normal Gurgenidze Caro-Kann territory. Yeah, and this is, I mean, it's not an advantage to black or anything, but from a strategic standpoint, you have managed to patch up the biggest hole in the Caro-Kann, e5. Okay, bishop g4 makes little sense now, because I'm never taking that knight. My opponent played c3, so c4 is never a threat. I want to go a5, knight a6, knight c7, knight d5. But I'm going to castle first. I don't think any h4 ideas work just yet. Excuse me, I just had lunch. I don't think any h4 ideas work just yet. I was actually eating while waiting for the game. At some point you could have caught me eating. Okay, so rook e8 is normal. Castles. Okay, let's go rook e8 first. And then my plan is to go a5 and start undermining the queen side and develop the knight to a6 and then to c7 and then to d5. If my opponent ever plays bishop f4, Wei Yi's idea in the Gurgenidze is to play g5. That can be very, very scary, because then the bishop has to choose a diagonal and it's not really clear where it should go. Oh, this is surprising. Doesn't that run into knight c7? Yeah, I'm playing knight c7 straight away, because now this is lined up with knight d5. Perhaps I also had rook e3, fe3, bishop h6, but I'm not too convinced. I'm trying to play quickly because in the last game, which if you saw the last game, it was awful. I should have lost in the endgame, but my opponent, okay, wants to play bishop h6. We're not going to allow that. We're going to go knight d5 and then bishop h6, bishop h8. And then try to trap the bishop with g5. I think the opening was a big success. This is exactly what I wanted to get. Because now any c4, what's wrong with my mouse? Now any c4 runs into knight b4. And of course, if I get to take on e3, that will be a significant edge. The only question is, what do I take with? I could sack the exchange and go bishop h6. That's very scary. But no, I just go bishop h6 and win the pawn. My opponent has to go bishop h6. I don't see an alternative, but then g5. Doesn't seem good. I think my opponent's in trouble. Wow, really? Okay, takes, e takes, bishop h6, bishop f1, queen e7. That just wins the pawn. Yeah, I'm just winning material here. Oh, there's king f2. There's king f2, so let's not rush. Bishop f1, queen e7, king f2. I really was expecting bishop f1. Is queen e7 the best move? Queen e7 forces king f2. Okay, I have the bishop pair. I have a steady advantage here. Maybe I don't need to play queen e7. Queen e7, king f2, bishop where? g4 I really don't want to take. I could go bishop e6 followed by bishop b3. That seems interesting. Queen e7 also. Should I even go queen e7? I am gonna go queen e7 because I want the king on f2. Maybe there were sacrifices with rook e3, but I doubt it because there's always rook e1. Okay, now let's go bishop e6. Do I want to go bishop b3? Because that runs into c4. Maybe bishop d7 is the way to go. Yeah, I definitely don't want to take on f3, so I don't think I'm playing bishop g4. Although bishop g4 is more active than bishop d7. But bishop d7 starts lining up c5 if the other rook moves, so I'm going to do that. Maybe c5 is going to be interesting. And now how do I triple up on the e3 pawn? Maybe I could have gone bishop g4, queen d6. Yeah, I think queen e7 may have been a mistake. Especially because c4 could put pressure on the pawn on a5. And the other issue is, if the queen moves away, okay, for my opponent, if the queen moves away, I take on e3, that's fine. So he's gonna have to play rook e2, rook e1. But then c5, threatening bishop a4. If bishop b5, I take. Okay, wants to go e4. I should not allow e4. However, if I go f5, then my opponent has knight e5. I should have gone bishop g4. Okay, definitely queen d6 now. I need to create another pin. And I'm also playing for the g3 and the h2 squares. If e4, I want to go bishop g4. Also, if e4, c5 is a bit scarier. But now, bishop g4 threatens to win the pawn on h2, but not really, because my bishop on h6 is hanging. So bishop g4. Definitely bishop g4. Wait, maybe not. Maybe c5. c5, e5, takes, d takes. Queen c7. Okay, c5 first. If c5, d5, which I'm expecting is going to happen, then bishop g4 becomes stronger because e5 is never a threat. So I have to break this center down. Okay, now bishop g4. Definitely, because I'm threatening to take on c5. And if my opponent plays d5, I have all the dark squares in the world. h3 is definitely a mistake because it weakens some more dark squares, and I may even be able to play bishop f4, bishop g3, or queen g3, bishop f4. My opponent, okay, plays d5, interesting. So now bishop f4? Bishop f4, g3, takes on f3 is winning. How else do you defend? If you go h3, I can take and go bishop g3. Okay, bishop f4 seems tempting. My opponent has given away all the dark squares, so this feels correct. Are there any tricks with c4, queen b6 check, or queen b6 followed by c4? Maybe. If I'm okay. So now the moment to make the decision. Do I save this bishop? I feel like I want to save this bishop. The knight has no good squares anymore. Although, if I don't take, then there is knight d4 on c4. And if I do take, queen f3, queen b6 takes my bishop. I go c4 check. That pawn isn't too dangerous. Also, if the knight stays on the board and the rook moves, I'm threatening queen d5. Yeah, I'm definitely not taking. Because I want to go bishop g3, the rook moves, and then queen takes pawn. if this bishop moves away. Now that d5 has been played, these dark squared weaknesses are going to be haunting my opponent for the rest of the game. Also, queen b6 is incredibly scary. Also, queen f2 has been prevented now. So if I go queen b6, there is no queen f2. Sorry. Yeah. Well, that doesn't help matters. Wait a minute. Do I go queen b6 straight away? No. I go bishop g3 first. I weaken the queen. And then I go queen b6, because now it's a double attack. So queen b6, attacking b3 and threatening c4. Let's go. Okay. So doubling up my rooks on the e file makes sense. d6 cannot be played. Yeah, let's put some pressure on e4. I don't see how that should be defended. My bishop on g3 is very strong. Very strong. d6 still cannot be played. You lose a pawn, my friend. On d6 I have bishop d6. On bishop d3 I have queen b3. And on rook b1, queen c3. Maybe even queen a4. I don't know. Queen a4 defends my bishop. But my queen is kind of offside. But then again, on queen c3, rook b7, I have bishop a4. Yeah, I think I just win material now. Knight d2 seems risky. Because I have queen d6. Followed by f5. Or even f5 straight away. Probably queen d6 first. Okay, so now if I go queen d6, how does my opponent prevent f5? Bishop d3 is there. If I go f5, what does my opponent do? Queen f3? There is queen f3 either way. I do have bishop c3 though. Sorry, bishop e5 attacking c3. I may also just go bishop f5. Queen d6 seems like a safe move I want to make anyway. So I'm gonna play queen d6 in anticipation of queen f3. I also want to make sure this bishop never moves. Okay, so now either bishop e5 or bishop h2 check. I don't like bishop h2 check. I want to defend my pawn, so this makes sense to me. Now I'm on the c3 pawn, and the queen is tied down. And that knight feels strangely offside. And I do have f5, which I will play immediately. Unless my opponent plays g4, but g4 seems unsafe. I'm up 3 minutes on the clock, that's good. I also want to reverse the position of my queen and bishop, but that's not going to be easy to do. Before I do that, I have to play f5. What the hell is that? I don't get bishop e2. Ah, I do get it now. Wants to play knight c4. Very scary, but I do have f5. f5, knight c4, fe4, knight d6, ef3, knight e8, fe2, knight f6 check, bishop f6 check. I think that works. f5, knight c4, fe4. If queen e4, then probably queen b8. Firstly, can I prevent knight c4? No. So I'm going f5. I don't see an alternative. Also now I have queen f6. Okay, so let's take. On queen e4 I have bishop h2. And I also have bishop h2, whatever else my opponent does. So bishop h2 check, king h1, queen g3 gives me an extra pawn. There is queen c5 though. But I want to keep my e4 pawn very much. So bishop h2 seems reasonable, and queen g3 will threaten. Bishop h3 in some cases. So queen g3, bishop g3, queen g3, queen c5, bishop h3. I never have queen c7 because of d6. So I am kind of forced to go queen g3. And my e4 pawn guards against rook f3. If my opponent plays queen c5, am I taking on h3? I think I am. I don't see a good defense to that. So I think queen g3, bishop g3, knight a5 is the most likely variation. But my bishop pair is very strong, and paired with my passed pawn on e4, I feel like this should be significantly better for me. Queen c5? Are you kidding me? Okay, what happens on bishop h3? Bishop h3, gh3, queen h3. Threatening to win the queen. So the queen moves to a light square, which I don't see. I see no light squares. So maybe rook f2. No, this is just awful. I'm taking on h3. I don't see a defense to this. I mean, you could play queen f2, but I can just move my queen away, move my bishop away. Probably to c8. Yeah, this feels right. This feels like I'm winning now. Queen f2 is the only move I can see. Yeah, now bishop c8 seems reasonable. Bishop c8, is there anything else? I don't think so. So I'll just save my bishop. The problem is that on d6 I have to play rook d7. I have to play rook d7 because otherwise, if I take on f2, for example, okay, my opponent takes. That's nice to see. I think I should be better now. Okay, I need to play rook d7, preventing d7. Now I have f5. This doesn't work. My opponent just wasted a bunch of time. Alright, so can I save my a pawn? I don't see an easy way to save my a pawn, so I may as well try bishop e5. My opponent wants to go... Sorry, I want to try bishop e5. My opponent wants to take and go bishop b5. And that does work. But if they take, I go rook d6. So I feel like that doesn't work. Let's just not mess this up. I'm up on the clock, I'm up a pawn. Let's slow play this, and when I have bishop e5, I also have rook d8, just winning that pawn. I don't think I can save my a pawn. I also really don't want my rooks on the d file. I want them behind the pawn. Can I just go f4? f4, knight a5, f3, no. So either rook d8 or bishop e5. Bishop e5, knight e5, rook e5. Seems scary. Yeah, I'm gonna have to win this pawn now. I'm going rook d8. If my opponent goes knight b6, then rook d6. Knight c8, rook c8. Rook d6, bishop d6. So the d6 square is sufficiently covered. I'm not blundering anything. Before this pawn can move to c5, I have to win the pawn on d6. And then I'll have a protected passed pawn, and my opponent will have potential counterplay on the queen side, but not so quickly. That being said, bishop d6 will be a blunder due to knight b6 after I take. So perhaps rook d8 was a mistake. Huh. Yeah, I'm not happy with this. Bishop d6, knight b6. So let's say it's black's move. Bishop takes d6, knight b6. I move my rook away. Oh, I can move my rook to c7. No, it's not a blunder. That's fine. I have rook c7 defending both bishops. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. This was lucky. Okay, bishop d6, rook d1. I can just move my bishop away to c7. Bishop d6, knight b6, rook c7, rook d1, bishop d6, knight b6, rook c7, rook fd1, and I don't have rook c6. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me turn it off. Sorry about that. I could give up the exchange and play with the two bishops with my passed pawns. I actually like that idea. So bishop d6 loses, but rook d6. Rook d6, knight d6, rook d6, rook d6, bishop d6, rook d1, bishop c7, bishop c4 check, king g7. How is my opponent stopping my pawns? I like that. I think I play rook d6. I don't like bishop d6 and everything else loses material, so I'm just going to sack the exchange and have the bishop pair and two pawns for the exchange. Okay, I need to prevent this. No infiltration squares. My pawns are safe. And now it's time to push. My opponent will not be able to control the dark squares, and I think my two bishops are good enough to prevent the queenside pawns from moving forward. And I think my opponent's king is much worse than mine. I mean, obviously it is, because my king has a ton of space. It will not be able to cross the 4th rank, but I can come to f4. That's another move I don't understand. I really don't understand. It prevents f4, but my king can march up the board. Also, king g1 now loses to bishop b6. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Why? Why would I do that? Why? Congratulations to my opponent. I fell for a very, very simple trick. Let me just expand this so that you guys can see the engine. This was an idiotic move. Nice trap. I didn't even think about my bishops being loose. What was I supposed to do? Bishop b6 probably. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the game. Okay, so this we know is fine. Knight f6, ef6 I know is fine. Castles. a5 I know is a good move. Okay, knight e3, fe3, bishop h6, queen e7. Where did I miss my advantage? f5, yeah, I should have gone f5, but bishop d7 is fine. Queen d6 is fine. c5 is best. Where did I go wrong? Oh, I should have gone cd4. cd4? Wait, why? cd4? What happens on cd4? Now bishop g4. Okay, but doesn't that lead to the same type of position? I don't get it. Bishop g4. Yeah, okay. d5. Bishop. Wait. c4? Ah, the bishop is hanging. If the pawn is taken, if bishop c4, then I take on f3, queen c5 wins the bishop. Ah, okay. So I played bishop f4. I moved my bishop back, I should have taken. b3, bishop g3, queen b6, bishop c4. Yeah, I should have gone f5 immediately. I saw f5. Why didn't I go f5? Queen d6 blunder. Queen f3. Instead of that, my opponent should have gone bishop b5. Wait, how is this bad for me? Bishop takes h3, yeah. Queen f2. Wait, I should have taken? Ah, I don't hang both bishops because I have bishop g3. Idiot. Idiot. I thought my bishops were hanging. I have bishop g3. Okay. Okay, rook d7 is forced. f5, good. Rook d8 is good. Rook d2. Wait, I just do nothing? Sacking the exchange is equal. Why? Wait a minute. What if they go rook d1? Oh, bishop e6. This is just equal. I thought I had great winning chances here. Yeah, I just need to save my bishops now. This is stupid. I just hung my bishop. I didn't even... My opponent played rook d4 and I didn't even consider rook c4. Oh, this was an awful game. I hate losing in the Caro-Kann. Congratulations to my opponent. I should not have given up the exchange. I have completely overestimated my opponent's position here. So if I don't do anything, let's say here, rook fd1, and then I don't do anything again here, then knight b6. But the engine plays b6, knight b6, and now bishop b7. Now sacks the exchange this way. Wow. Because it's a counter threat. Yeah, okay, this is a bit beyond me. Thank you guys for watching. This wasn't nice. Hopefully it gets better in the next one. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye-bye.